Hi everyone, Wrath here, and I finally completed Doombots on the hardest difficulty. I wish I had streamed it, but it took me about 20 tries. And the hardest thing about this challenge is getting 5 people who understand what the hardest difficulty of Doombots are. These bots are going to destroy you until you beg for more. Um, so I just want to go into some of the strategies. Now, the number one, first of all, I did this in the pug. I don't know any of the people that were in my game. It was just a war of attrition, figuring out things that worked and just hammering it, hammering it, hammering it until success. So what worked for me and my group? There were actually several groups that could have done this. Um, the number one thing is mindset. If anyone in your game is toxic and doesn't want to be led, it does not want to follow or does not want to lead and just wants to troll right from the get-go, that game is not going to happen. Um, this group um, had a lot of wins and fails early on, but we worked as a cohesive group. Now, the number one thing you can do is go to one of the bushes. Now, with this group, we actually went to the south bush, and the only reason I did that is because um, if too many people go off in one direction, you just need to go where the bulk of the people are, ping, and hope they come. Now, we ended up getting 4 people to the bottom bush. We only got 1 kill, but I think we got 2 more kills off of that. When you stagger deaths for the bots, you can get additional kills. Laning is not particularly strong, but the most successful start you can have is everybody goes mid, 4 people hide in one of the bushes, and then 1 person baits the bot into the bush. It takes a while. Every bot is different. I think Caitlin gave us the most trouble, and Corky is a good escape artist, so um, there's that. But getting everybody to wait in the bush. If a single person leaves the bush, the bot's gonna immediately react to that. But if all 4 people are hidden, you can almost always kill that bot, even a Corky, before the CC expires. Soon as you get your kill mid, you're going to go to top or bot. Top is slightly better. Something you need to be aware of. If you are somewhere you are not supposed to be, you're going to gain vision of VEIGAR, and VEIGAR is going to target you with abilities. It's kind of hard to explain this without a video reference. But basically, if you're trying to proxy behind towers or you're in the enemy jungle, there are certain areas where VEIGAR has vision of, and you're going to just see the eye above your head, and he's just going to be dropping dark matter all over you until you die or leave. And his bots will have vision of you as well, so they will usually also try and hunt you down and will be successful. It's incredibly hard to evade them at that point. That said, you can still get kills and you can still escape. It's just, it's going to depend on the circumstances. Sometimes it's just going to be wrong place, wrong time. And sometimes it's just going to be like everything syncs up and you get out of there. That said, the top lane is going to be the better lane to try and get a gank off of. It just works out better. Now, bots have a mechanic where if you're trying to kill them somewhere you shouldn't be because you've led them there, at 10%, if you can get them behind your tower or off to the side, you're pulling them out of lane. Bots are supposed to stay in lane most of the time. So very beginning of the game, sometimes they'll use this ability mid-game because you've pulled them around one of the towers or through the tower and they get stuck on the other side. At 10% health, they will gain like 200% movement speed. It's like a Giga Chad ghost move, and they'll just dip. You can still kill them, but pretty much whatever CC or missiles are flying at that time or dots are ticking at that time, such as Ignite, you gotta hope that that's going to finish them off. And you can, but it's just better to wait for CC to come back up to kill the second bot. Because of the way the tower layout is and the way the jungle is laid out, you're just simply going to have an easier time ganking top. That said, you can have success with bot lane, and it's a little bit easier to stagger kills in bot lane and then get them off their groove and then just get kills back to back to back. And bots respawn and come back to lane so quick, you almost want to do that because you burn their teleport. The bots have all sorts of cooldowns. It's an insane amount of cooldown. So their teleport's going to get them back into lane quick. And you can get 4 to 6 kills in a single lane before everybody moves on to something else. And that gold piles up. So that's what you need to do early game. If not everyone reacts, but you get some kills, you're good to go. I found that a ganker helped the most. I started off with Pike, and I am glad I switched to Twitch. My second most successful game was a Pike Twitch roam, and we just had the other 3 people do whatever the hell they wanted. I think 2 of them were in one lane. One of them was in one lane, and we sort of had this death ball roaming around. I think Zin was with us at that time, and Master Yi spent quite a bit of time just chilling in lane, not getting any kills, just getting harassed under his tower. You do not want to be in these lanes 1v2. You're not going to survive under your tower. They have insane health pools with which they will bully you. You're just going to die or get chased out. And they're going to kill towers. The biggest thing to accept is that they're going to kill towers. It actually works in your favor when they do, because it makes it easier to roam from lane to lane to lane to gank them. It's not unheard of to get plating. The best I've ever done for plating is 4 plating in one game. You're still going to lose like 6 to 9 towers, if not 11. There's no stopping that. It's going to happen. It's just a question of how quickly. But you can still get plating, and the plating is not normal plating. The bots give about 400 to 500 gold per kill split. The plating is about the same. The plating is about 600 gold per plating, and each tower has 5. Now, it's like normal Summoner's Rift plating. It's not going to be like Earth Mode plating where it's super strong. So you've got that to deal with. So let's talk about comp. I do not recommend mages for this, and I don't recommend assassins. It's possible that you can make it work. It's just they're super squishy and they don't scale. The big thing that mages struggle with is their scaling item loses an insane amount of stacks on death, and you're going to die. Mages have no way to self-sustain, which is why mages are insanely weak. You're not going to dodge everything there, and there's some amount of damage that's going to have to go out, so you're just going to have to accept that and move on. I don't even think Rod of Ages and Rod of the Seraphim is enough. But it doesn't hurt, but you're also going to have to be doing some crazy stuff in the very final stage of this map. Now, the toughest, we actually had a very easy Doombot layout. We didn't have a Soraka. We did not have a Nami. The healers are just obnoxious. You can counter it early with anti-heal, which is what I go most of the time. I really love getting Mortal Reminder, and even just building the first piece that causes anti-heal is going to be really almost required for fighting them, just because they heal such an absurd amount. And these bots have so many stats. You're going to be used to 1v1ing someone, and you're going to see a sliver of their health bar left, and you're just going to just go for it, and they're not going to die. They're going to live every time. The difference in health bars, like, you're going to need to be at full when they're 25%, and you might be lucky to get a kill and walk away in a 1v1. So the comp that ended up working out nicely was 2 marksmen, and I'm going to recommend this for everyone. For a marksman, your first item is going to have to be something significant. Mine was Hubris. I had 22 assists, 14 kills. Literally all I did was roam for the first half of the game, setting this up. My next item was Collector. One thing, the 5% on the bots is pretty significant, so this definitely did a lot of executes. The other nice thing about my rune page, so every time I killed someone, 20 gold. Every time I collected somebody, 25 gold. And both of those stack. So that's what I did there. Buy your, if not now, I hope Jinx purchased Rune and Hurricane early. We actually didn't need it, but you're gonna need some insane wave clear. So if you don't have at least one marksman with a Rune Hurricane by their third item, preferably their second item, which is something that I was doing a lot. The problem is on the marksman I was playing, the teams I was playing with, it wasn't happening. We had 55 kills to their 40, and then VEIGAR killed us 15 times in the last round. They're going to be taking your inhibitors and just they're gonna gain more damage and push in. Every time the bots land an ability, they gain a stack of phenomenal evil that's adaptive power. So it's not uncommon for Jinx, Tristana, Caitlyn to all just start two tapping people because they have so many stacks. You cannot miss any of the quests. We completed both of our quests. All 5 people have to leave lane and go do it. Now, we had 2 of the easiest quests. Karthus, Yorick, any quests where you're going to have to just go all over the map and do a ton of stuff is not very good. But you're also going to have to be in a good spot. It helps to wipe out all the heroes in the base and then go do it. But the easiest quest is where one of the bots gets detained and is getting powered up. If it's in Dragon or Baron, you can kill 1 or 2. You have to kill 3 nodes, and you can kill the nodes from over the wall. There's always going to be 1 or 2 heroes or champions that tries and contests it. Always fight them and kill them. I have watched a single champion kill 3 of us because 2 people were messing around in the Baron pit, and everybody 1v1. Just the bots are a joke if you dogpile them and just unload and sort of layer CC. It doesn't have to be perfect CC layer, but if you knock up into stun, into a silence, they kind of land a lot. You can KO them in that period of time. And they're just not going to do anything. All their abilities are super souped up. So, even Brand, if you let him get his, I think it's Conflag off, it casts 4 Conflags in 4 directions. It's a lot of spells that just occur. Or Lux's Singularity detonates twice or 3 times, and Each additional detonation does more damage, so you get hit by it and slowed, and then hit by a bigger one and slowed, and then hit again and slowed. There's some really crazy stuff. So it's just better to kill them. Um, Blitzcrank is actually insane. He has I-beam lasers and he has singed flip, and all of his abilities do extra damage, and he has adaptive force from because every time he lands an ability, he gains adaptive force. So letting a Blitz live is super toxic because he can 100% 100 to 0. I think in this game I was running away from Blitz and someone's like, just turn and kill him, and I'm like, no, I can't. And if he lands his hook, that right there is half your health bar, and then he's going to singe flip you and be eye beaming you, and he's going to knock you in the air, and he's going to ult, and I don't know how many abilities he needs of those to kill me, but I am going to die. So like you don't try and dodge the blitz hook, you don't try and do anything silly. You just get somewhere good, escape, and just heal up, get back into the fight, and let the tanks eat all of those mechanics. I can dodge the Brand and the Jinx and the Tristana stuff, but the Blitz combo, no thank you. It's kind of insane. The first ability we got is where they contain a hero, so that automatically takes one hero out of the fight. At least one hero is going to go defend, so there's not going to be a lot of action in your base. You're going to lose something in your base, but you have to go and do the quest. If you don't do the quest, every bot gets like 1,000, I think it's honestly 2,000 gold. They're just gonna snowball at that point and outscale you, and you will not lose. Even if you can kill them, they're going to be pushing into base, and the problem is they'll be doing so much, they'll be grouping up, and they will just outplay you. Now, that you get 1,000 gold per person, so completing the quest is super nice. The second quest we got was the Ziggs quest. The big thing for the Ziggs quest is ignore him, kill all the champions around him. There's usually one or two. They will respawn, they will come back. Don't be behind him. Kind of ran past him, killed Blitz, killed Jinx. I don't know, Brander, Tristana might have shown up, killed the respawns. A third set of respawns came, and I'm just dodging all the the Zig mechanics, and Blitz lands a hook from a bush and just 100 to 0s me, and that's why I fear him, and it's a good thing to fear him. Like, it's silly not to. Now, because we handled Ziggs that way, we got all this free time to burn him. I don't think he made it past our second tower. He did not get to our inhibitor tower. I don't remember if it was up or not, but he's just going to sit there and throw abilities out while you fight his friends. So there's just fight him. But whatever the quests are, make sure you go do them. There's one where you have to go to 3 corners of the map and just destroy something there. You need to find a way to make that happen. It's very helpful to ward your jungle so that you can teleport, and you don't need void boots. Swiftness is so much better. They come online sooner. They have slow reduction. They'll give you all that speed you want, or just go with one of your DPS boots. You're probably going to be better off with the DPS boots, or Mercs, just because there's so much CC. But swiftness is probably not going to do a ton for you even as a roamer. Now, that said, I probably could have sold them. I probably overcapped gold in this game by a lot. Let's see. After, you're only going to get 2 quests, so do those, survive. The last 2 minutes is going to be intense, but at that point, you should be close to finishing out your build. All the minions piling into the base is going to work in your favor. You're going to get a ton of farm there. Rise has natural AoE farm. Rise is one of the few mages I would recommend just because he's naturally tanky. He builds tanky. He actually went Zonias, which was probably a really smart decision on his part. And he went Merc Treads. Again, super smart decision. Um, Galio went half tank. Actually, he didn't. No, he sort of did. Galio went half tank. He went Merc Treads. He went Riftmaker. Um, Cruelty. Cruelty was probably a really good pickup for him. Our Galio was actually really tanky and did work and was very helpful in the final boss. I don't think he survived all the time, but he did some of the time. Set also did work. You are going to want one tank. You are really going to want one person who can take a ton of damage and not die. There was quite a lot of times where it was just Jinx and Set in the final fight. And there was a lot of time when it was just myself as Twitch and Set in the final fight. And everyone else died. And you're going to respawn. It's a long respawn timer. If everybody dies, VEIGAR'S going to just start nuking your Nexus. Our Nexus actually survived with 10% health. We did something that allowed some hits to go off. May have been part of the problem. But, you know, when most people are dead and you've never seen a boss fight before, it's like, what does the graphics mean? What is it? What is safe to sit in and what is not safe to sit in? So my teammates panic pinged and typed in caps, and I was like, oh well, okay. I adjusted super quick. I think. Anyhow, first time seeing the fight, I was pretty happy with how it went down. When you get to the VEIGAR fight, there are multiple phases. I suspect that they've souped up the bots since the public beta test, because I think it took me like 30 games to get to this point. And I'm going to be honest, I would give up on a game super early. After about 10 games, it became apparent to me just how much min-maxing needs to occur. You can't give up kills. You can give up towers. You cannot give up kills. I think we were like 15-9 for at one point early on, and just to give you an idea of how good we were doing on bot kills. Bots scale insanely with gold, so every time they kill you, they're like Jinx bot. Do not feed Jinx bot. Don't feed Wukong bot for that matter. I'm actually really glad we didn't have Lux bot. Lux bot is just ridiculous. Brand bot is also ridiculous, but it's a better flavor of ridiculous. It's like vanilla sprinkles versus peanut butter fudge rocky road marshmallow palooza with melted caramel. It's like there's way too much going on with Lux bot. Brand was just way more manageable. A little bit less CC. You did have to spread out though for his ult, and if you saw the rings, which you frequently would see with him, you had to spread out. But and Wukong is not that bad. I have nightmares about Wukong. I will wake up in a hot sweat from Earth mode matches I played against Wukongs. This Wukong is way more tame. So we honestly probably had one of the now Tristana bot. You've got to be really careful with Tristana bot, because unlike the other ADCs, she will leap on you and just burst you out of nowhere. And because she has such a health advantage, there's nothing you can do about it. And her leap is super far, so she's going to leap on you from super far away, out trade you. Even if you go even, she has double your health. So she's already ahead. And these bots have mastered turret diving. They aggro swipe that turret so well. The Blitzbot will dive you, run to literally the edge of the turret, and then just sit there taking turret shots while his friend, who has double your health, 1v1s you. And he's like, can you misstep so I can grab you and flip you? Because that's all he wants to do. So these bots are crazy. Don't be afraid to give up the first turret. Don't be afraid to give up the second turret. You're going to want to try and fight for most of your inhibitor turrets, but they will all go down at some point. The VEIGAR fight is just going to be your typical raid boss. If you've played an MMO or an action RPG, you're probably going to be fine. A lot of these fights are choreographed. Boss fights these days are all choreographed. VEIGAR has going to be spitting out a ton of stuff. And honestly, for the last 3 minutes, he has so many curses. Those curses don't go away. He's going to be throwing so many spells at you. It's going to be ridiculous. It's not. I didn't find his boss fight to be that much stuff. He has a spray he does where just stuff goes out. For most of his phases, the spray is harmless, and that spray is in all phases. But in the final stretch of the fight, where you're fighting the last VEIGAR, every so often it will be empowered. You can tell when the whirly spray is empowered. Big missiles will come out, and I did not let any of those hit me because I don't know how hard they hit, and I don't want to find out. I will say, since VEIGAR is magic damage, and most people should be playing an AD for this, that item that gives you magic resist and then lifesteal or spell vamp for the rest of combat until you like exit combat, that's super good. So it'll block some of his one shots. It does have a long cooldown, so don't rely on it. I think we spent like 3 or 4 minutes fighting final phase, like just fighting with VEIGAR. Right before the last, he's also gonna just drop meteors from the ground, from the roof onto the ground. His typical VEIGAR ability, just don't get hit. He's gonna drop like 20 of them. It's well choreographed. You shouldn't get hit by any. Jinx and I would usually get hit by 1 or 2. We would just lifesteal it back up. I might consider selling my boots for lifesteal. I don't know. You cannot run. You cannot heal at the fountain during the VEIGAR fight. You're locked out of your fountain. The only way to get there is to die and respawn. Your respawn is about 25 seconds. So if a lot of your peeps are dead, just focus on living, because if you're all dead, you're going to lose. But if you just focus on living until they can get back up and get over and into the fight, because if no one's in a certain range of him, he's just going to start nuking the Nexus. He has this big expanding circle that he does. The floor is going to go super red. I did not get hit by any of those. I don't recommend seeing what it does. After that, there's some sort of weird ground mechanic. I think you need to be in for that. It's like a hazy purple. If no one's in that, he's going to start nuking the Nexus. Then let's see. By the way, for his first phase, he's going to summon a ton of ads. Just a ton of high health ads to try and siege your Nexus. Kill all the ads. Don't leave them up. Ads bad. Or just let them walk past you and beat on your Nexus. I'm sure you'll kill him before they destroy the Nexus. I'm sure you'll be just fine. But cleave is nice. Now, we really only had two people that could cleave. I guess Rise has some sort of built-in cleave, and Galio has built-in cleave, but everybody helped out with the ads. Definitely don't just leave it to your two ADCs to help out with all the ads, but you're not going to be able to Malzahar dot these things down and then just refresh the dot. So don't bother. Um, ADC cleave is weird. Our Ruin Hurricane was not acting like normal. Normally, you can hit something and then something on the other side of the room gets hit with the split bolt. That was not the case. So do with that what you will, but don't tunnel Vigar. If it gets fixed, awesome. Um, at some point, there's going to be an arena match, and every Doombot in the arena match is going to have an onk. I did not do any fancy double lift faker moves. I just hit spray and pray and cleaved the fuck out of them. I was not the first person in the match, and the way it works is it lets in a bot and a player at the same time. I was the third person in, so by the time I got to go into the arena, there were already things going on. I think poor Jinx had to fight Blitz. And she did have to dodge his hook, because if she didn't, not going to be a good time. And Blitzbot, for whatever reason, just wasn't hooking. So Jinx spent, I think, most of the first half of her match just kiting Blitz and hoping. And to her credit, she got Blitz down to like 66%. But she did take quite a bit of damage. I think she was at 50% because he hit her with some stuff. Eventually, Set or Galio came in and got Blitz off of her, and then she just popped off. By the time I got in, two of the arena opponents had already died and were onking up. So I had like 3, soon 4 targets, and I just spray and prayed, and I just finished 2 of them off, sent some more into Archangel Stasis, and then I died. Some crap hit me. I'm sure some combination of Brand, Wukong, and Blitz, stray AoE, hit me and nuked me. Galio and Rise just stayed alive. Well, I had already done some work. I had already mopped them up, and I would not be surprised if we had to kill each of them twice. I know I eventually res, and it did not take 25 seconds for the arena phase. I like resed up. It auto put you back to the arena. And when it was my turn to go back in, I went back in, and I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the arena phase. If it was red, I killed it. Then back to the final Veigar phase. I will say this, in the final Veigar phase, there's a little bit more stuff, and certain things hit harder. So be prepared for souped up abilities. That said, the fight's pretty predictable. If I was to do it again, I think I would have gotten rid of my Blade of the Rune King, and I would have gone a Bloodthirster. Blade of the Rune King is overkill. I don't think it does enough for Ziggs or Veigar. Maybe it does. Maybe it did. Maybe. I wonder if there's any way to see hero damage. Total damage to champions. Oh, look at. Oh, Set. Oh, Set. Baby. Physical damage to champions. Magic damage to champions. Shame I can't see damage done to good old Veigar. And that might not be recorded here. He may. I don't. There's a chance that he's not considered a champion, just so that you can't abuse the Andres on him. Yeah, Jinx was #1 damage. Tristana was the second lowest damage to Wukong, but nothing scares me more than Tristana because Jinx will just eventually kill everything and pop off and finish mowing everyone down. And I'm pretty sure she got a pentakill in one of my games. But Tristana is just going to 100 to 0 someone. She's going to pounce on someone, and if any other champion lands an ability, you're just dead. So in some ways, like this number is not representative. You can't go by overall numbers. Um, let's see. Successes. If I was to change, if I was to consider the comp again, would I change anything? I don't know. Rise was able to lock stuff down. Galio was able to lock stuff down. Set was probably one of the number one reasons um, we won. And Galio's stats, don't pay attention to those. I wish I had saved the video. This Galio did work. He set up. There's a reason he has the most assists. He set up so many kills for the rest of us, and he was simultaneously tanky and doing damage. Um, the Galio knockup was super strong. The taunt was insane. The taunt actually, I'm gonna be honest. Galio offered so much CC that the knockup and the taunt in the Winslow probably got us an insane number of kills. And then on top of that, the set CC, the Rise locking them down. Jinx and I can't really do a ton as far as CC goes. And you can't rely on Jinx landing a root. I'm sure she did it. And Caitlyn is also really good. If you have a really strong CC gang, the traps can just help you combo. And it's going to lock down the bots so they're not going to run away. I don't know if it screws with their AI or not. But yeah, Rise Galio set, phenomenal. Mel is amazing, and Mel secures kills because she can execute and her alt executes. I had a bad habit when I was playing with her of just alting when people had like hardly any stacks, and it's like, this isn't Earth mode. You can't just spam your alt because it's going to be up in 25 seconds. I don't know that I would recommend Lissandra. I had a ton of fun with Pyke. I really popped off as Pyke. The only thing with Pyke is that you're probably going to have to get a Bloodthirster and a Cleaver because you're going to need some sort of cleave damage, but it's probably going to have to be your 4th or 5th item, and you're going to need some sort of life sustain. VEIGAR does give you breaks during his fight where you can just tunnel him and like life regen any health that you've lost. But man, I really wish I had a second lifesteal item. I probably would have sold boots for it. I tried Malzahar. I just didn't care for Malzahar. I actually tried Shaco. The bots work around Shaco and Teemo and probably Evelyn crazy well. Evelyn might actually do well just because she has a really long duration charm. And the bots probably aren't going to run away from her, but I don't know what Evelyn does against fighter. Well, I guess she can just hide and she's going to demon skin an insane amount of health back, so I guess Evelyn would probably be fine. I don't know how I feel about supports. Maybe a Karma. Soraka, I don't know that Soraka adds enough. Yuumi, I don't know that Yuumi adds enough. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Alawe. And I don't know how Alawe is going to work on the final boss. I had a lot of success with Alawe, and the biggest frustration is that no one would hit my spirit. and I need my spirit to die when I grab someone's spirit, because it slows them and causes them to spawn a ton of tentacles, and having all those tentacles out is how I do the damage. Well, the bots are just going to kill your the bots just run up to your tentacles and one tap them. You can try and defend them, but it's really tough. But you really need the spirit to die to spawn a bunch of tentacles, and then you're just gonna go crazy. I just got tired of people just completely ignoring my spirit. Um, but Alawe, the bots don't know how to handle her and how to handle her mechanic, and it's insanely strong for popping bots. I wish her alt had a much shorter cooldown. Um, I probably used it a little too liberally, um, but Alawe is super strong. Um, have I seen an Ambessa? I don't know that I have. Um, Ari might be good just for securing kills. Um, who is the melee bruiser that his princess died? I've actually seen a Lucian pop off. Lucian has a ton of potential to outplay his lane and just actually, because he's such a good lane bully, if you can outplay the bot. um, my biggest frustration with Lucian is he would kill right before I got there, so I wouldn't even get the kill credit for all the things I was stacking. Um, Trundle actually does quite well. Any ADC that's a hyper carry, Vayne probably does insanely well. Tristana, Jinx, Twitch, just because Twitch can. Bots know. Bots react immediately to stealth characters, and they can see the stealth characters. So the moment you leave stealth as like a Shaco, they are firing something at you. Vigo. Characters like Vigo with high sustain that are intended to be 1v2. I've seen Riven do well. I would think a Xin Zhao could do well. Yasuo is hit or miss. I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't think he does enough. Ziggs. Because he slows and displaces, Ziggs actually does quite well. Anivia, for the exact same reason. There's probably an argument to be made for Victor or VEIGAR. I don't think Vi would do well. I don't think her alt's enough. I think a good Udyr player. I just never saw one. I was not a fan of Kog'Maw or Tryndamere, and the big problem with Vayne is Vayne does not build runes Hurricane, so, and she technically doesn't really have CC, so Vayne actually feels like a huge detriment in this mode. I haven't tried Swain. I think there's some things he could actually be insanely good at. Swain would probably work only if the ADCs don't get fed. If any of the ADCs get fed, even a Caitlyn will two pop, and they're bots, so they track when they have a headshot. So they're gonna drop a trap, headshot you, auto attack off of the trap, disengage, attack you, and Caitlyn's ace in the hole hits for a metric ton. I'm so sad that Shaco didn't work. The cooldown on his boxes is just way too long. The bots instantly kill it. For the exact same reason, I think Zyra and Heimer would actually be bad, because the bots have the damage to kill stuff, so they're gonna kill stuff. I doubt Rengar is gonna be strong because he's not a sustaining assassin. Um, I doubt Zed, but maybe. Um, and I could be wrong. If you're able to just pop off and get fed and get kill after kill, but like these are not ordinary bots. It's been a few years since I've done bot modes and hard bots. Um, these bots have a new kind of AI, and they very seldomly glitch out. There might be a case to be made for um, two tanks, and I'm actually half tempted to try out a Mordekaiser. I think Mordekaiser might actually be really strong. He probably needs sustain early on, but then once he gets a Rylays and you can't walk away from him. The nice thing about Melzahar is that if you can get his dot out on a bunch of people, and you have a dot and a Rylays, there's a lot of nice synergy there. It's possible Teemo's viable, but don't think he's gonna have the wave clear and the cooldown for it. Kale and Vayne are too hyper carry. They're gonna be fairly useless for the early part of the game until they come online in the last moments. Um, the biggest issue that I have with Kale and Vayne is that the game is lost by the time that they come online. Probably similar with Karthus. The other thing is with Karthus, things need to be locked down now and no sustain. Karthus, you'd have to have probably a Rod of Ages and a Seraphim. And Rise still died a ton on Veigar. Keston, I honestly don't think Jhin would be that great. Or Jax or Jarvan, you really need a brawler with a lot of built-in sustain. I think I want to try Mordekaiser and Alawe. I wish assassins would work like a Fizz. I don't know about Elise. I guess with any of the AP melee assassins, you have to build that item that Galio had. Like you just have to. And I don't think you can have more than one mage. I think range mage, I think more than one mage is just going to be a recipe for disaster. I tried Aurelion Sol. His black hole is way too long. It is easy to get stacks, though. The bots love to bathe in his black hole and his breath. Annie, I don't know about Annie. I don't know about a Moo or Alistar. Anyhow, I think that's enough information. I wish you the best of luck with your endeavors, and I hope you enjoyed this guide. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks. Have a great night.